All right. So you want to sing like Chris Cornell. I get it. We all do. He's one of the saints of rock and roll, Saint Christopher Cornell, up there with, Saint Layne and Saint Kurt and Saint Jeff Buckley and all these things. And there's a lot of information on YouTube, right? And a lot of it's good. Some of it's not, but we can all agree it's a lot. And there are 4 things that really helped me hone in Chris's sound that I wanted to share with you. And I'm going to call them 4 tips, and I'm going to 4 iceberg tips, because they're just like 4 things, not necessarily equal in weight, but just 4 things to start thinking about, and go down the rabbit hole. Each one of these things could be their own video or video series. So in no particular order, we're going to start out with low volume, vowel modification, which that's really like the biggest thing to talk about, but I'm just going to touch on it a little bit here. Something called marble mouth, which is a fun way to get out some stress and relax your consonants when you sing. And then, a little bit of distortion. And we're going to treat all these as kind of ingredients, things that all are working together. A lot of what we think our heroes are doing, they're not. They're not as loud when they're screaming, or loud in general. Power doesn't come from loudness, aka a ton of air pressure. Less volume and more efficiency creates more freedom for higher notes. The less volume you have, the less air pressure, the subglottal pressure that's coming up, which is actually working against what you want. Also, in terms of vocal health, if you're pushing up too much subglottal pressure, you're gonna run into some problems, because you're gonna go do the you're gonna do this, and you're using too much air, and the chords are gonna be hitting together and getting more swollen, and your voice will degrade over the course of your gig. So what does that mean? If we can't use that, then how are we getting those sounds? That leads us to the next breadcrumb, and that is vowel modification. Now, this is probably the biggest iceberg that I'm going to mention in this video. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole, which I recommend, I'm going to do some videos about it, but really there's a guy named Keegan De Boheme who is the best at explaining this stuff. He has a whole program called Foundation Vocal Method, and it just goes into it, all the science of it. What I will say is that it's really helped me to understand chord closure and to almost follow the ping as the vowel changes. I'll sing it with healthy support, but not a ton of volume and airflow. But I'm going to use my vowel modification to get a resonance, and that's what gives it the power. In your house, I long to be room by room, patiently wait for you there like a stone. So the way that I'm thinking about that is I'm following the ping. The ping. Now in Italian, it's called the squillo, because they just have the best names for everything. Okay, so here's a simplified version. Your vocal tract is essentially an adjustable resonance chamber. And the different vowel shapes emphasize different frequencies. An A vowel tends to be more open in the front and closed in the back, whereas an E vowel tends to be more closed in the front and open in the back. As we move higher, we adjust these shapes. Not because we're changing the word. I didn't understand what vowel modification meant until I came across Keegan's stuff, because I thought it was, it's gonna be May, right? that famous Justin Timberlake thing. That's not vowel modification. That's a word modification. I'll give you an example. In your house, I long to be. That's me trying to keep everything wide. See if you can hear the ping in his voice right here.
On a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness.
In everything he's doing. On a cobweb. I'm exaggerating it. Afternoon in the room full of emptiness. So marble mouth is a term that I heard from my friend Sterling Jackson, and another amazing vocal coach. Go check him out as well. And it really helped me because I was using a lot of my jaw, and I was also pushing off consonants. I was using a lot of things. We talked about efficiency. When you're using a bunch of other things that aren't doing what you think they're doing, it's energy wasted. It's mental focus, it's somatic focus that's being taken away from the things that are actually helping your voice do what you want to do. And so what I like to do, and if you watch Chris, you'll see this, it's sort of like someone injects, a painkiller into his cheeks, and he's just rah, 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 rah. Right? Now, I'm not saying this is the way, to sing correctly in any sense of the term, but this exercise just helped me to relax my consonants, relax my jaw, because when we're jumping off our consonants, it's creating these glottal stops. It's getting in the way of our air pressure, of our openness, of our freedom. So listen to Chris sing "Of a Book Full of Death."
Of a book full of death, reading I will die.
Do you hear that relaxed thing he's doing? I, a long time ago, would have sung it. Of a book full of death. Right? We want to get that jaw tension out of there, and he's the master at that. It's of a book full of death. Is barely on the consonants so that we can concentrate on the vowels. That's what we're really singing on. I can't tell you how much jaw tension really gets in the way of not only the notes that you want to produce, but the feeling. So much of singing, it feels good to sing. And the tension and the closure is our enemy, much like in life, openness is what we're always going towards. And then, it's like the fear contracts and all that stuff, and it stops the sound that you actually want. This is really the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg for understanding the nervous system and how relaxation can help us, and how fear closes us up and tenses us up, and and starts to do things that affects the sound that we want. So follow that path. That should lead you to enlightenment if you go far enough, and then you can tell me how you did it. Now, the last thing I just want to touch on is distortion. Learning distortion for me was one of the best things that I could have done, because I was having vocal problems and I was so afraid of anything that sounded like it was hurting my vocal cords. And the beautiful thing about distortion is you have to have the foundations of your technique correctly. You have to have all these things down, the valve modification, the low volume, all that stuff, because if you do it while trying to push too much air, that's when you get into trouble, right? The way that I use distortion to help me become a better singer, I would make sure that I could sing what I wanted to cleanly first, because then we can add the distortion to the ping and it'll be safe. So let me know in the comments which one of these things you'd like me to expound upon next. If you have any questions, I'm happy to do that. And yeah, thanks for watching.